All right, moving on to the last question. So here we have a lot of questions. And so the first thing I'm going to do is, instead of going question by question, I'm going to look at this circle and try to identify everything that I can from here. So here we go. So the first thing I'm going to start with is, notice how from A to C is the diameter. And so if AC is the diameter, that means that represents half of the circle. And so if I go that way, I know from A to F is 56, from E to C is 72, which I can find the measurement of this arc here by simply subtracting 56 and 72 from 180, which gives me 52 degrees. And I'm going to use the same concept to find the measurement of the arc on the other side. So I can find the measure of this arc because I know that this measures 88 degrees, which means this is 92. So I took care of the outside part. So the next thing is, let's work on the inside. Let's work towards the inside. Notice how B is the center of my circle, which means angle 7 is the central angle. And since it's a central angle, angle 7 is also 56 degrees. And so if angle 7 is 56 degrees and angle 8 is also a central angle, so I want one of two ways. I can find angle 8 by adding 52 and 72, or notice how angle 7 and angle 8 is a linear pair, so I can subtract 56 from 180. Nonetheless, I get angle 8 to be 124 degrees. So moving on, angle number 4. Angle number 4 is an inscribed angle, which means it's going to be half of the angle, or half of the arc measure from D to A. So from D to A we figured it was 92, and so all I gotta do is figure out what's half of 92, and I get my answer. So half of 92 is 46. So moving on. Since we're on this triangle, angle 3 opens up to the diameter, which means it's a 90-degree angle. So I can do that or put 90. Angle 1 is an inscribed angle. It's going to be half of the arc that it creates. So it creates this arc which measures 88. And so since it's an inscribed angle, I got to take half of it. So angle 1 is 44 degrees. Let's keep going. So let's go with angle 6. Angle 6 opens up to the diameter, so from A to C, which means it's another 90-degree angle, or 90. Angle 2, it's an inscribed angle, so it's inscribed to the arc from E to C, which is 72, so half of 72 is 36. And same with angle 5. Angle 5 is another inscribed angle that goes from E all the way to A. And so to find the arc measure of E to A, I simply add 52 plus 56, which gives me 108. And so because angle 5 is an inscribed angle, half of 108 is going to be my answer for the measurement of angle 5, which is 54 degrees. Now, for 9, 10, and 11, notice how 9 and 11 are vertical angles. So whatever I get for 9, I'm going to get for 11. And same with 10. 10 is going to be linear pair to both to both angles 9 and 11. So there's not really a way I can find angle 9, 10, or 11 using anything we know so far, because this kind of stops here at the radius. It doesn't go all the way through. Now, if it would have gone all the way through, we could have classified it as an inside angle and solved it that way. Instead, I'm going to rely on the fact that I have a triangle here. And one thing we have to remember, that all the angles, when you add them together of any triangle really, should always add up to 180 degrees. And so because I know 2 out of the 3, I can find the third. In other words, I know 56, I know 36, subtract that from 180, and we get angle 9 to be 88 degrees. And since angle 9 is 88 degrees, angle 11 is also 88. And so simply, to find angle 10, I can subtract 88 from 180, which gives me a measurement of 92 degrees. And so now we can go back and find or answer any questions that they were asking. So starting with A. So moving on to the last couple of problems. So starting with 33, it says write the standard equation of a circle with center 2, 7, radius 6. So standard equation of a circle is going to be in the form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h and k represent the center, r represents the radius. And so I have my h, I have my k, and I have my radius. So all I have to do is substitute it in. So my equation is going to look like x minus 2 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals r squared or 6 squared. Now 6 squared is 36, so I write 36. And same thing for 34. So 34, they're asking you to identify the center and the radius. So it's like working backwards. So I know here I have h, here I have k, here I have r squared. And so the center is going to be opposite of this number together. So 10, 2 is the center. And the radius, remember this is r squared. So the square root of 25 gives me the radius, or 5. For 36 and 37, so 36, we want to go from degrees to radians. So when we go from degrees to radians, we're going to multiply pi over 180, okay? But really what you're doing is you are dividing by 180 and you're slapping a pi next to it. That's it. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's do 100, which is the degrees. We're going to divide that by 180 and we're going to simplify. So 100 divided by 180 simplified gives us 5 over 9. And then the next step is we slap a pi next to it. So that's my answer. So 100 degrees in radians is 5/9 pi. And so for 37, we're going backwards. Now we're going from radians to degrees. So when we go from radians to degrees, we do the opposite. So instead of multiplying by pi over 180, now we multiply by 180 over pi. And so really what we're doing is, the shortcut is you remove pi and then you multiply by 180. And so let's see what we got. So we have 7/3 pi, and that's what we're going to multiply 180 over pi by. And remember, the shortcut was remove the pi, so really we're removing the pi and we're multiplying by 180. So we're going to multiply 7/3 times 180. And so on my calculator, I'm going to put it exactly how I see it. The only difference is we can add parentheses to if we want to, but 7/3 times 180 is 420 degrees.